กันต่อ
In offices everywhere, staff struggle with slow computers and unexplained errors. Productivity grinding to a halt as frustration mounts when IT companies stop communicating. Cyber risks slip through the cracks, exposing your business and leaving you vulnerable.
Did anyone save a backup before this happened?
I thought you did. This is a disaster.
Mojo ICT's expert team proactively monitors your infrastructure, keeping you ahead with regular reports and real-time upgrade recommendations. Get peace of mind with Mojo ICT. Book your free IT infrastructure review today and experience seamless, secure productivity.
Welcome to this week's edition of It is Chaile time. Today we are talking about something quite important, quite serious. It's all got to do with risk management, but especially from a information technology perspective. And we have our guest here today, Jaco Kruger, who's the, what do we call you, owner, MD, CEO? These days, I don't know. For me, a CEO and MD is the same thing, but apparently not. So
I don't know. I don't have
a title.
A title. I'm just there, just doing the work.
Okay. And you are the owner of Mojo ICT.
Yes.
So welcome here to our podcast. I'm looking forward to our discussions today.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, so as I said, we're talking about risk management. And for our audience, most of our audience are HR managers, HR executives, and they are responsible, for, in context of our discussion today, for data protection. And this is something that's becoming very prevalent. Now, I know you have a bit more to say about cybercrime and how vulnerable companies South Africa is. But one thing I just need to highlight, I think this is one of those areas where there's a lot of ignorance. People are not really mindful of the risk. Every single day an HR manager or a manager open their laptops or access their servers. They don't actually understand the risk they are exposing themselves to. But before we get into all the detail of what you're going to talk about, tell us, who are you? Where do you come from? How did you start the company? Are you married? You have a dog?
I have a dog. His name is Quiz.
Quiz?
Yeah.
A boerennaam.
Yes. But yeah, no, I'm married. I've got 2 boys in school currently. I started the business, Mojo, specifically about 7 years ago.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
7 years ago, but I've been in IT my whole life. Started installing network cables and stuff. So that's why I started originally.
Okay.
Then I joined my father had an IT business that I joined.
Oh, so it's in the family.
Yeah, so it runs in the family. So that's my journey and where I started, and that's where the passion grew for IT and systems and infrastructures and stuff from there. So yeah, and then the idea of starting Mojo was to actually get a system or a company that's more preventative focused, because most of the companies I was involved in was all more reactive based.
Yeah.
So that's more the core focus why I started Mojo, was to do a more preventative and sleep better at night systems.
Jaco, when people think IT, they think computer cables and CPUs and let's swap your memory out for a bigger memory. Okay. But you are mentioning important words like preventative maintenance. Okay. Talk to us about preventative maintenance. But before you do, I've got a little story to tell. And this is actually how we got involved with you. And this is really so you can take it from me, okay? I'm not an IT guy. I'm a paraplegic when it comes to IT. I just don't understand the bloody stuff. But one thing I do understand now is that you get IT and then you get IT. Or an IT company and then you get an IT company. They are different, really. And I think in terms of what they do, and probably in terms of, their skills and knowledge. Now, like my story, and you know the story, At some point, probably about 2 years ago, we were hacked. Our website was hacked by some Chinese retailer. So when you type in your browser Effectus Harmony, no problem, you click on it and then it is not us. Then it is a Chinese retail store. So I was with before I got to you, I was with 2 other IT companies. And the one, I'm burning to let their name out here, but that's not our policy. We don't call names. They're quite well known in South Africa, and a lot of people are with them. And they just simply told us, we host your website and all these kind of things, but we don't actually provide security. Not that they tell you that before you take out the service, but anyway, so they didn't do anything about it. And obviously with that, emails not going through, which was obviously an issue for us. And eventually we came to your business. And since then we haven't had those issues. The email's been sorted out. You guys have these codes. Apparently we are on a high code, so that means our emails are quite secure. There's like a number thing. A score. I still don't understand it, but I just know if I'm like on a 5 or something, I'm sharp. Something like that, you know.
Yes.
So talk to us about preventative maintenance. What are the risks out there? What does cybercrime look like?
Cybercrime is evolving constantly, and it's with AI and everything, it's just becoming more and more challenging to combat it. So I always say you always have to balance budget versus functionality. What can you afford compared to what is the actual case study, or what's the need, the actual need. But we find with our clients, most of the issues we find is that emails are being breached. Invoices going out is being intercepted and changed. Those type of things is actually in our circle of clients is actually the most relevant, and we focus a lot on that, securing your email, securing that data flow on the cloud to make sure that is actually sorted.
Let's stop there for a moment. Let's just focus on that point, emails. Every day there are hundreds of emails that are sent, that comes in and goes out, probably from any company.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't really think twice of the security potential risk or breaches, data breaches, from a cybercrime perspective. What are you seeing at the moment in emails? What kind of breaches do we see?
So about 30% of the emails in South Africa is secure, or domains is secure.
Only 30%?
Only 30%. It is a massive issue currently to educate owners of businesses on that security risk.
Okay.
And the challenge is a lot of the companies providing support out there are more, as I said, reactive based. So they're not actively looking to where the holes is in your system where the people can come in or the hackers can come in. So there's a lot of things that needs to be in place for your mails to be secure, and it's all on different levels. You need to make sure your emails is first of all backed up, not just in a cloud system somewhere and you think it's a backup system, but it's a storage system.
Yeah.
So backed up, number one, make sure your passwords is changed constantly. So there's all these levels, and then it goes up all the way to all the security settings on the domain needs to be in place.
Yeah.
So there's a whole list of stuff that people are not doesn't know or don't have the knowledge, especially business owners. They register a domain, they get a website and emails from somewhere, and they start operating.
Yeah.
And the challenge is these hackers sit and they find an account, they breach that account, and then start monitoring.
Hackers, there's criminals out there who intentionally try to hack emails.
Exactly.
But why would they want to do that?
For money. They change the bank details on the invoice. If you pay 50,000, 100,000
The
rand,
supplier as an example.
and you change the banking details, and that email goes out, and someone pays.
So how does that work? So there's now a supplier, I suppose, send an invoice to a company. So where does the hacker come in?
So it can be breached either at the supplier or at the client's account can be breached, and that email can then be manipulated.
So they intercept the email, you say, without you knowing?
Either intercept or they breach your mailbox. So they log into your webmail. Before you actually get the email on your computer, when it reaches the webmail.
And you're sleeping at home, you've got no idea.
Exactly. When you get that email the next morning, you just, there's the amount, there's the bank details.
So you'll get the invoice. But there's the bank details, but you don't know that somehow on the way from the outbox that side to your inbox, that invoice, the bank account details was altered.
Exactly, and it's legit banks, it's legit bank accounts, but it's not for that company. And you pay that money, and as soon as the money drops, they pull it out.
We always expect, an SMS where there's some kind of fake person who's trying to get you to log in somewhere and access password. And sometimes these things are quite obvious. But what you're telling me now is quite scary, because you, as the recipient of that email, you're completely unaware in terms of the value chain of that specific email, from when it was sent, from where.
Yeah.
And you're saying it went through the dark underworld before it actually got to you.
Basically, yeah. But on that specifically, the easiest way that I always advise my clients is, if you need to pay someone, you initiate the call to the original contact details, not on that email that you started communicating with, and you confirm the bank details on a separate system like WhatsApp or something specifically, or over the phone, before you set that account on your bank.
But there's another example recently that we're dealing with, where a CEO will send an instruction to a staff member, and the staff member will action on it, but it wasn't the CEO.
Yes.
What's that about?
So again, if your email or your domain security is not in place, the hacker can spin up a server in his little basement or wherever, and he can start sending out mails as from you. So he can put in any domain if the domain is not secure, and the person.
So that person can hack me as Toby and send an email to my account to say, pay whoever.
Yeah, they can send an email to. We had this a while ago, that the email was actually sent to the financial person doing the payments, and from the CEO stating that there's the invoice. Please quickly do this payment for me. It's urgent, and the payment was done.
Sure, I think we're in sleep mode still. I don't think we understand the risk. I mean, it's actually quite scary. I mean, I send a lot of emails on a daily basis. I receive a lot of emails. But it's actually quite scary to think that every single email can be intercepted, and you just don't know.
The focus that what we focus on is preventing problems. So the idea of Mojo is to make sure that this type of system runs in the background, that you can do your hundreds of mails a day without stressing about this, because the security is in place.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that people need to be educated of why, as you said, you get IT companies and you get IT companies.
Yeah, I've come to learn that. So I think a lot of companies, their IT focus, and I speak on a correction here because I'm not an IT specialist, but me as a consumer from IT services, that's how I felt. Like they focus on hosting a website, or hosting your emails, or changing the CPU in your computer, or changing cables. This is probably what I came to learn. I think it's more low level stuff. And once I was hacked and our email's not going through to our clients, then I realized, but listen, there must be much more to this. But I must say, how long have you probably been a year with you now? Maybe a little bit longer or something like that.
Yeah, a year and a half probably.
And most of the issues been sorted out. Our emails are going through, not been hacked again. So I must say I've experienced that. But now to make it a bit even more relevant to us as human resource people, we are responsible for data. There's this law, the POPIA Act, which are basically, I see lawsuits going left, right, and center when there's a breach of personal data, names, emails, salaries, and so. And we as HR people, we work with that confidential information. We work with staff contracts. It's hosted somewhere on a server or on a file on your computer. Pay slips, the pay of the CEO, and I suppose now you get HR managers, some HR managers, they have high level financial data also on their folders or on their PCs and so. And I can just imagine if somebody must somehow hack those servers or computers and leak that information. Every now and then in the media we'll hear that, data from this website was leaked, and 1 million bank account details was hacked or something like that. Talk to us about this. What's the risk about that?
So I always say you can never be 100% secure. If you as a small business want to secure a system, but a big corporate can be hacked, what's the chances that you can spend the money not to be hacked? So you must understand, again, budgets versus functionality. that anything can be hacked. If someone creates it, it can be hacked. That's the reality, unfortunately. But you need to secure it as far as possible. And that's where a bit of strategy comes in. You need to make sure there's different levels of security, that if someone wants to breach your system, they need to be a proper senior hacker to hack it. They don't. Not one of your employees quickly going online and watching a YouTube video can hack your system and get the data.
Will it help if you ask ChatGPT?
It will. For both ways, being hacked and not being hacked, it will work both ways. But yeah, the issue currently is that you need to secure your system, and POPIA doesn't give 100% clarity of if you do this, you will be fine. They just say you need to secure your data as far as possible. But there's levels of that's fairly inexpensive and fairly quick to implement. Making sure your laptop hard drive is encrypted as a step one. Luckily, Windows 11, everybody's pushing back on going to Windows 11, buying new computers, but the security back end that's required these days, that's why they're moving and pushing everyone to go to a second or the next level of operating system, is for your own security. But if you not encrypt your laptop hard drives, your laptop can be stolen out of your car, out of your office. Someone plugs in that hard drive into another computer, or they just remove the password. If you just have a password and it's not encrypted, you can remove that password in 5 minutes.
You know what comes to mind now is, just once again, I want to labor this point. People are ignorant about your services. We being HR, for us dealing with labor relations, it's very here in the know in terms of, disputes resolution at work happens every single day. Every day there's warnings to be given or staff misconducting themselves. So companies are forced to pay attention to it. But now there are other fields in human resources like health and safety, for instance, where people are like, oh, whenever, we are safe, man, nothing will ever happen. And then we will talk to people about health and safety, and they say, oh, no, it's too expensive, we don't have budget. And that day comes when there's a breach and somebody dies.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you have the Department of Labor, the police, all these departments pitching up, and then the CEO doesn't go to the CCMA, goes to jail. No. Then they phone and say, listen, can you do something? Then we throw that WhatsApp emoji. There's nothing that I can do. And I think it's also relevant to your business. People thinking, IT, Until that day, where that invoice get breached, or HR manager, you need to speak to your Manco. That day, when your contracts of employment of your staff been hacked out of your folders, dan gaan jy huil.
Exactly.
Dan is it, we can't do anything now. You see, it's done. The money is flowing.
Most of the companies trying to secure their system has been breached. And that's the problem. Is, as I said, there's so many companies not being secure, and only after a breach they start running around and trying to find a way to secure their system.
Yeah. I want to make this a bit more, or bring it home a little bit more, make it a bit more real. We are both now currently involved with a client. And from the evidence I can see so far, yes, there's ghosts there. There's things happening there. So we are busy investigating and unraveling this whole syndicate, if you want to put it that way. But there's some things I've seen so far which is quite scary. We are getting the idea that there are staff who are actually busy educating themselves, I don't know to what extent or for how long now, on how to do network manipulation and so on, and it's quite interesting. We dismiss who we felt was one of the kingpins, and we're busy with a private investigator, and we will actually receive information. We dismissed this person like 3 months ago already, but now this week, Monday, we receive information that person's got 20 bank accounts linked to a name. That's quite scary. And then just last week, on the one person who we now also think is a kingpin, there was a little piece of paper with a word on it. And the owner saw it and then asked that person about it, and she said it was a dance studio, but it wasn't. if you go on Google, it's actually a company teaching how to do, it's like an underworld company teaching how to do network manipulation. It's real. Your staff
that's the reality,
your staff are sweet and making you coffee, extra sugar,
Yeah.
but you've got no idea what your staff are up
Yeah.
to.
No, that's true. That is so true.
Eh?
Yeah, you've got no idea.
You've got no idea what the people are actually deliberately trying to do under your nose. How your own staff is trying to hack your bank accounts and your networks and whatever the case may be.
No, that is true. The information out there is so overwhelming that anyone with just a bit of interest can actually skill themselves up to a level.
Yeah.
So, as I say, the challenge is trying to balance everything and trying to be as secure as possible. So,
I mean, the same employees, they submitted an APSA statement where they accused the company, well, accuse sounds like a hard word, but it comes down to it, where staff, they can pay for products from the company, and for some reason the company systems had 4 similar equal amounts being deducted from or withdrawn from the employee's account. So they submitted a statement to the company, an APSA statement, and it was quite fishy, and the employer was quite suspicious, so they actually went to ask again for an official bank statement from the employee. The amounts wasn't in there. But what the interesting is, so the employer phoned the 2 women, the 2 kingpins now, and they had a phone call meeting. But in that office, there's cameras that can do audio, you can hear. And it's interesting is at some point they start talking about the staff, the 2 ladies are talking about the Standard Bank statement that they gave the employer. And then the employer corrected them, said, no, it was an APSA statement. And they went like this at each other. Because now they were obviously confused between, it seemed like they're getting confused between all the different fake statements they are issuing out there, or whatever the case may be. So yes, this is just driving it home to me that, we're living in a world, where people are trying to take advantage of each other.
it is true. It is sad.
Yeah. So, Mojo ICT, where do you come in? What do you do? How do you help businesses?
So, first of all, we do a risk assessment to see what we can find in the infrastructure, in the hardware, in the way they operate, where some of the vulnerabilities is. And then we start closing those vulnerabilities. Some of them are easy and quick, and some of them are a bit more, takes a bit longer and is a bit more expensive. But the idea is that you need to start closing the loops as far as possible.
So there's a risk assessment that you do, and I believe it's for free, by the way.
It is.
It's for free. Did you hear that? So just by the way, Jaco's number will appear here at the bottom somewhere, okay? So you guys must phone now. So there's a risk assessment to look at the vulnerabilities and to what extent your business is exposed, your systems are exposed.
Yeah.
And I suppose there will be some kind of report.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a report, and we'll go through the report and explain all the different things we picked up on that assessment. And then where we recommend we start to secure them. So there will be like a phase 1, phase 2,
So there's
phase
like a
3.
project plan there.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Because every company is a bit different and everyone has different needs. If we take your company specifically, the original need was to get your email secure. That was priority number 1. So that's where we started. Other companies has got a problem that their hardware is too old and their staff is not productive enough. So that's where we start with them.
I didn't like that because the moment you come on board, that PC is too old, that one was changed.
Yeah, that was your phase 3 only, but...
Suddenly laptops must change. But look, I know this. I mean, some of our PCs were still running from Windows 10, and I think that's code for you of how disgusting can that be.
It's always funny. The CEO's computer is always the fastest and the best, and his PA doing all the work is usually the slowest. That's 90% of the time, which is always funny. I always enjoy that.
Yeah. It's not funny for us. It's not funny for me. Anyway, so you've done the risk assessment.
Yes.
So typically, is there like a bullet point? How does preventative maintenance look like? I've heard that some of our clients, you talk about security, about shutting the network down or whatever. I don't actually know what it means properly. So how does it look like?
So again, it depends on the specific company and where we want to start. But first of all, we need to make sure that the data is secure. You can replace computers. You can reinstall the software.
Yeah.
But if your data is gone, it's gone.
Yes. That's scary.
So
Yes.
if you look at just photos, if someone steals your external hard drive with all your backups of all your photos, which actually happened to a family member of ours, that data is gone. You can never get that photos back. So if you have an accounting system in your company and there's no proper backups on there, on our assessments we do, sometimes we find, we've actually this year had 2 companies we did assessments, that the backups on their server is not running because no one is maintaining that. So the preventive part is to make sure that the backups is running, the system is running, the security measures are in place, all the way up to doing quarterly audits onto the infrastructure, making sure that on that audit, the system is still secure. The stuff that's been implemented is running. And that's the approach that we take, is making sure on that, from daily checks up to quarterly checks, making sure the whole system is secure as far as possible. Yeah. And then if there's changes in the system, for instance, about 2 or 3 years ago, we had a lot of issues that, for instance, attorneys, they get clerks and they work on their SharePoint system and they delete a file for some reason, or they move the files to different folders. And 6 months down the line, you're struggling to do your work because you're looking for this file or this email or something that was sent. So to make sure you've got a proper backup of your cloud storage systems is so crucial, to make sure the data is there. So as I said, there's different levels of what needs to be implemented for you as a company to operate securely and efficiently. And that's where we're coming.
Great stuff. So again, just look at the bottom, you'll find these details, cell number, email address. You have your team that's also ready.
Yes.
You know, I must say your responses are quite quick, you know, so there's no issues there.
Thank you.
From our side, it's still a pity that we live in this world, you know, where hijackers are always, or criminals are always trying to invade your privacy and try to steal your data. It's all over us. I mean, if I just open my bank app, you know, it's just like new spam, new this, new phishing, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
And SMSs, yes, I actually get a lot of SMSs. A lot, probably once every 2 weeks or so, I get an SMS of somebody trying to do something funny, you know, trying to access or fish around, you know.
The phishing account attempts is on the rise massively.
Yeah, but you know what, where it impacts me now? Every now and then, and it's happening actually fairly often these days, that a client will send to me a letter from a government department, Department of Labour, what we had the other one, SARS this week or last week, and Statistics South Africa. They will email businesses asking for some information, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Is it legit?
Well, you don't know anymore.
That's
and
the
it
challenge.
can be legit, but now we're like, I'm not going to send the inspector any information. I just don't know who I'm talking to anymore. And then they start threatening you. You're going to fine you 20,000 rand if you don't. The one is from Statistics South Africa saying, you know, you need to disclose some information about your turnover of your company. If you don't do this, we're going to fine you with 20,000 rand. Then the employer will send it to me. Now, I don't know. Now I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, my knee-jerk response is, no, we don't do anything.
So there's an interesting trend as well, that you as the owner of the company actually need to teach your staff on phishing attacks, get them educated.
Because it looks legit, man.
That's the way.
My point is, you know what? If the government wants to sue me, come knock my door and sue me. Then we'll talk.
Exactly. That's the easiest.
and then we'll talk. But you sending me a government Department of Labour letter or Statistics South Africa letter and say this or that.
No, I just ignore all of that as well.
Yeah, I'll just ignore it. But anyway, so thank you for coming. And any parting comments? Anything you want to say to the audience out there?
Just be vigilant. I think that's the main thing. Just be vigilant. Don't relax. Be vigilant before you answer mails. Make sure you confirm the bank details yourself over the telephone. There's all different things. But from me, thank you for the opportunity.
We have a friend. It's quite interesting. About a year or two ago, he told me he actually hired somebody like you specialize in hacking, whatever, but he was not a good guy, okay? Was more, his business is to train companies. And they actually ran a test on his company. It was just 1, 2, 3 and he hacked them. And the staff didn't know what was going on because, suddenly you start getting emails from this person, and it was amazing to see how quickly. And the message was actually just the staff themselves were not vigilant. They were not paying attention to what was going on in the inboxes and so.
Exactly,
Yeah. Anyway, Jaco, thank you. It was lovely having you here.
Thank you for your time.
And so again, cell number, email address, if you want to get hold of Jaco, contact him, his business, Mojo ICT, to come and do a free risk assessment, look at how secure your systems are. And I'm looking forward to many more days of, I almost want to say risk-free data. Anyway, stay a little bit later. You're going to see it's now time for job review to look at what fresh vacancies is available in South Africa. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Harmony people. Let's have a look at some of the vacancies posted nationwide on our Harmony People's network this week. First up, the RST Contact Center is looking for an experienced and driven debt collections team leader to lead a team of inbound and outbound agents. RST Contact Center is also looking for a debt collections call center agent to join their dynamic team. Sylvania is on the lookout for an HR officer, and stakeholder engagement to provide support to its Western operations. And lastly, the well-established Cape Town-based ISP and FNO company is seeking an experienced service delivery and escalations coordinator. This position forms part of the service delivery team and is responsible for the delivery process, including liaison with clients and providers, escalating issues, interdepartmental communication, and ultimately seeing orders through from end to end. For the full information of the mentioned positions, how to apply, as well as more available positions, find the vacancy link in the description. You will also find a link to a useful video on how to compose a winning CV and have a successful interview. Tune in again next week for more Harmony vacancies.